It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
You can see she's got the papers and book ready to go, so there must be a lot of information to pass along. We'll do that in the next half hour. We'll talk about the council meeting from the 18th. Also a workshop that happened before that you're going to be interested in if you're looking at the future of Maple Grove.
Yep.
And then a number of things happening around town. We'll kind of walk through the city in just a second. Let's start with that workshop meeting ahead of time. And the title of the meeting was, or the area we're talking about, is 610 Northwest Development Area. So give us a little background. Why is this something that is on the table for the city to look at? And we've got a map to show you in just a minute as well. But give us a little background. Why is this such an important area?
Well, you know, with the 610 improvements being constructed and the connection to 94 being made within the last couple years here, we still have another leg of that project to do to complete 610. It's really kind of starting to open that area up to some development interest. So we're really focused on that area kind of north of 610, west of Maple Grove Parkway up to I-94, but you know, on the east side of 94, so we're not jumping over to the other side of 94 quite yet. It's in that pocket between 101st, 105th, and up to Holly Lane, which connects up into Dayton. We've had a couple of parties interested in development up there. I think the first development application that we might see in that area will be from Northwoods Church. They have some property just on the north side of 105th there as you kind of round the bend of the new alignment of 105th. It would be coupled with some residential. And so we, you know, in order to serve that development, we need to talk about what infrastructure would be required to serve development up there. Much was completed with the 610 project, so the construction of the 105th Avenue Bridge. Much of 105th was constructed to an urban standard. Sewer was brought through that area through a Met Council project. Water is close by, but there's a few pieces that would need to be completed. About $6 million of additional improvements to finish out the construction of 105th, bring sewer and water all the way, you know, to the sites, and then the reconstruction of Holly Lane up to the Dayton border. So some things for the council to consider here. The purpose of the workshop was really to kind of provide a bit of perspective to the council just about what the considerations are if a development application should come forward, that we need to consider to what extent, you know, there's several options. They could say, no, this area isn't ready for development yet. We don't want to extend improvements. Yes, we could serve it up to the church, or do we go and construct 105th to a full urban section and then all the way up Holly Lane. So a couple levels of decisions there, but no requests for any action out of this workshop. What we really wanted to do was just kind of frame up what the considerations will be as we maybe see some development applications come forward. Some land use considerations as well. Currently the land north of 105th in our comp plan update is designated as low density residential. The church has some residential partners with their project and would be looking at maybe a medium density that they'd like to see. That's of course a policy decision for the council, so we wanted to kind of alert them to that matter and get them thinking about that. So just kind of a precursor item to some of the interest we see up in this area and what the work would be required to really open this area up for development now that the 610 project is connected to 94.
Let's help you out a little bit with the perspective to know where this is. Let's take a look at a map here. So this is something that was presented at that meeting, the workshop that was on December 18th. So give us a little idea again, proximity-wise, we can obviously see where 94 there is on the left-hand side, and County 81 comes at the angle across the middle of the picture, and then 610 on the bottom. So that's really the area you're looking at, but then also to the north side of 81 as well, where we see the yellow area. That is certainly something that's considered. Yeah,
there's a good amount of single-family housing development going on kind of at that Dayton-Maple Grove border up there. And I think we'll see continued interest, a lot of residential development interest in Dayton. There was an article recently in the Star Tribune about some big tracts of land up there in Dayton that are now being platted for single-family use. So we'll continue to probably see that happen north of 81. We have some of that area closer to 81 there designated more for medium density. So, you know, you saw that project along Territorial Road there come forward. So We'll see that primarily in the residential uses, and then as you get closer to the highways, more of that higher, medium density, higher density type uses.
So again, for those, it's a little tough to see the key, obviously, as small as it is, but from a color perspective, so when we're looking at the yellow, we're looking at single-family residential or some type of residential.
That's correct.
And then the blue that is in the middle there notes single-family residential, and then the church as well. So what you're talking about, the church property is right there.
That's the property that the church owns, and so that a portion of that, the church site would be probably about 10 acres of that piece, and then there would be, their desire is to have some associated residential, and that gets to this land use question about, what type of residential uses go in there that the council will have to consider, and the planning commission as well.
And below the blue, the kind of magenta color there, tell us a little bit about what that color is.
Yeah, so that shape looks a little bit strange, the magenta shape.
Right.
But what's occurring there is there's a significant amount of wetland and floodplain in that area. And so we actually, the area kind of on the east side of that area, we are looking to do a wetland bank in there. We're working with the property owners to get that done. That helps us with having some wetland credits in town to offset any impacts that might occur. But what we expect to see in that area is kind of that office warehouse type uses, similar to kind of the Arbor Lakes Business Park. Again, Osseo Mutual's there with their office development. We'd love to see more of that type of development in there. And really with this wetland bank and the other wetlands closer to 94, really makes for a nice environment for those types of uses, corporate campus type of thing.
Certainly.
So that's kind of what's programmed that we'll likely see in that area.
And then the brighter red that's over on the far right side of the screen, what is the intention there? Yeah,
so that would be more, more of a commercial use. So it could be more retail, hotel, restaurants, that kind of thing, right at that 610 Maple Grove Parkway interchange. So, high volume of traffic. As we get 610 completed, probably at a higher volume of traffic there. Maybe a continuation of the commercial that we see on the south side of 610 there at Maple Grove Parkway. So we want to, leave some of those areas for those types of uses up against those highway interchanges.
Very good. And then let's hop all the way up to the northwest, the final corner there, that's kind of the pink color. What are we looking at there? Yeah,
so this is a property, it's labeled as a Shaw property, it's a Shaw family holding up there. This is a piece that has incredible visibility from 94, and it really is kind of the gateway to Maple Grove. There's a really nice stand of trees on the north end, and then as you get to the other side, that's Dayton on the other side of that. So we see this as a key opportunity property to kind of set the stage here for development in Maple Grove as people round the bend from Dayton. And this CBRE is the broker on this property, and they are interested in trying to bring some users to this site. But the key is they need some infrastructure to serve that. Holly Lane would need to be improved up there, and they would need to bring utilities to that site. So that's part of the consideration as to how far do we go with these improvements. Really kind of a catch-22. You can't really get after marketing the site and trying to get a user in there until you know that you're going to be able to serve it. But you spend the money to serve it, and then how long is it before you get a user, and so you've created some obligations there. So all those things have to be weighed, but this is a pretty key site. This is another office, med tech focus, office warehouse. Clearly we'd love to see the kind of corporate office campus type uses up there, but there is some flexibility to use. So as what the trigger of this discussion likely will be is a development application on behalf of the church. In the spring we'll look to that, and then the council will kind of walk through kind of what some of the considerations are for those infrastructure improvements.
Very good.
We do have a number of residents that live up along the 105th corridor, single family homes that have lived there for decades, long-standing family holdings. And we, I think they want to learn more a little bit about what the costs are, how the assessments would be structured, what the development opportunities are, and so there will be more opportunity for that as we go forward here.
Very good. One more hop back to the map if we can, just to take a look at those two green circles. You're probably wondering, what does NP mean? And that's something that's very special to the city. Tell us about the NPs.
So we always try to serve through our park system plan with a neighborhood park in areas where we are going to have significant residential development. So in our park system plan we do have identified identified up in this area, 2 neighborhood parks, one more in the single-family neighborhoods on the Dayton-Maple Grove border there to the east, and then, of course, one north of 105th in that area that there is existing single-family residential there, kind of large lot estate type to the east of Holly Lane, but that we would see, you know, some sort of neighborhood park use in that area to serve those residents.
Question that I'm sure this all begs, and we talked about a little bit before we started taping, was transportation-wise and how does this affect transportation. So first 610, as you head up where the pink is there and heading up towards the Dayton area, that gets you close to the Brockton area. And again, just for people's knowledge, what is the update there? Is that intersection off of 94 in the works, still a possibility? Where are we? Yeah,
so that project is still in the works, and they've received a bit of funding. They were awarded $7 million through a Met Council funding program. It's called the STP program, and they also have an application in for Transportation Economic Development Programming, a MnDOT funding program in partnership with DEED. With those two partnered together, that, you know, depending on what they would get if they are awarded through that TED program, it could start to put together enough for that project to get some legs. We're interested in that project in the sense that, you know, there's a lot of industrial development occurring on that corridor up there in Dayton, and a lot of that traffic flows south through our streets and down Holly Lane and 105th.
Exactly.
And Holly Lane isn't really built to accommodate that today. So we're interested in that to serve that transportation corridor. In addition, it would include some auxiliary lanes back to 610. As you remember, during the last legislative session, our goal was to kind of couple these projects up because there is some synergy there to complete 610, get the auxiliary lanes in, get Brockton done. Our longer goal would be to get those auxiliary lanes done all the way to Rogers, because otherwise we just kind of move the bubble up to the next point. But we're continuing to work on that front. We will be working on that this legislative session, and we'll kind of see, we're still waiting to see the outcome of the TED program, and we have the Corridors of Commerce funding program coming up here too that we'll be applying for, and I'm sure Dayton will as well. So we'll know more in the next 6 months or so on those funding programs and see what we can cobble together here, and so all still in full motion.
Other roadway would obviously be County 81. As you look at that development, you think, okay, County 81, once you get past Maple Grove Parkway, does the little bit of the squeeze and is one lane each way. So what's the process on that? How different could 81 look 5–10 years down the road? Yeah, there are some improvements that would be planned up on those County Road segments in and around Brockton. Beyond just that interchange improvement, there's not a, you know, that's kind of a county piece that they would have to make some investment in 101. And is it in their plan, or what is the county looking at with that road? You know, we've had recent meetings with the county. We have concerns as well about, you know, we would like them at the table on our 610 extension over to County Road 30. 101, certainly, you know, as you think about from the Dayton border all the way down to Medina. There are sections of County Road 81 that could use some improvement there and some long-term planning, and we're seeing residential development occurring up 101 in the Dayton-Rogers area that is going to add some traffic to those roads. So we continue to advocate for that issue at Hennepin County. I'm sure Dayton is as well. So all still in full motion. Many parties involved in the process, as we find with transportation, so we will certainly keep you up to date on that. But thanks to our crew, David and Matt, for getting that map together as well, and good opportunity to look ahead at what the future might be for that area of Maple Grove, and I'm sure it will come back to the agenda as well. It will. Speaking of the agenda, let's hop back to the meeting then on the 18th. The meeting was about 50 minutes long. Couple big items in the meeting, really nothing under consent to talk about in addition here, but under special business, a couple liquor violations that we mentioned the last time we were together. This was then, I think, the next or final step of the process. Give us a little review of what happened. Yeah, so our police department, as they always do, go out and do compliance checks. It was in October, late October, that they did these. We had 2 failures, Lunds and Barley's Wine and Spirits, and then Pyology Pizzeria. So these were on the agenda December 4th, came back, they both got tabled. They wanted a little bit more information, background on a previous failure of Lunds and Byerly's, and representatives from Pyology weren't able to be there on December 4th, so these got moved to the 18th. So we did
have the opportunity to speak with both of these businesses, and the disposition was a 2-day suspension and then a $2,000 fine, which is part of our code language around this. So both of these are now down the road, and hopefully, you know, Lunds & Byerly's has implemented a new scanning system for IDs, and so hopefully that will prove to help them in this effort. And then Pyology is still kind of working out details about how they can make sure that this doesn't happen again in their business.
Very good.
Yep.
One other item under special business is looking ahead at future jobs in the city of Maple Grove, and a partner coming to the table, Indeed. So give us a little background of this type of work, how this happens, and why it's occurring at this point.
Yeah, so this is a local business here in Maple Grove, Caisson Interventional. They were recently purchased by a company, Aliva Nova, which is a London-based med tech company. With that acquisition, they're going to be doing some growth, and we're happy to say they're doing that here in Maple Grove. They reached out to Greater MSP Deed on some job creation funds. This will help with some of the tenant improvements. They currently are located in the Eagle Lake Business Center. They're going to be moving to the Wedgwood Commerce Center, expanding their space a bit, adding about 50 new jobs over the next 3 years. And there's some tenant improvements that are required, so the job creation fund through Greater MSP and Deed allows them to tap into some of those dollars to get those improvements done. As a local government, we are asked to provide a resolution of support, and we were happy to do so. Really excited that they are growing and that they're choosing to stay here in Maple Grove and be part of our business community. So had representatives from Greater MSP out, as well as business representatives, and so this is a good news story for the end of the year.
Yeah, one of those decisions that doesn't take much discussion. It's like, yes, more jobs, and a business staying in Maple Grove is good news.
Yes.
Speaking of business in Maple Grove, let's talk about community development items, and the list is long, so give us a little look ahead at what might be coming in the next part, first half, possibly of next year. Yeah,
so if the January 8th Planning Commission meeting is any sign of economic growth here, we're going to be in good shape for 2018. We got a few things coming. Village of Arbor Lakes, this is the fourth corner of Arbor Lakes, the Kelly Dorn project. They're going to be coming in for a concept plan amendment, moving forward with their 2-hotel project. In the first concept plan, the hotels kind of straddled that north-south road through the commercial area. They want to shift both those hotels to the east side of that street. It's kind of a new concept, both Marriott flags, Fairfield Residence Inn, I believe, and they do kind of a shared common area in the middle, shared registration desk, shared amenities, and then you kind of have the 2 flag hotels on either side. So council will be looking at that. So with that shift, then they moved a few uses around there at the Village of Arbor Lakes. Self-storage facility down off of Sycamore, kind of up along the 94 corridor. Arbor Lakes Business Park, this is the project just east of Lowe's and Costco there, south of Elm Creek Boulevard. They're going to be coming back for the development stage plan on that first building, which will be the Illume headquarters, and then south of that they would do kind of that second building, but these are all focused on the east end of that project first. And then Duke is looking to make another investment here in town, and this is the former Wells Concrete site up off of County Road 81, kind of a really heavy industrial use site. They would like to do some industrial buildings up there, 3 pretty good sized buildings on the site. They're calling it Park 81. So this would be a little bit heavier type industrial use than what the Arbor Lakes Business Park. Arbor Lakes Business Park, very different product, higher percentage of office, higher level of finish, different kind of user. This is a little bit of that more heavier industrial, which is an important component of the business community here as well, that we'd like to see come along. So Park 81 will be in front of the Planning Commission here after the first of the year as well.
All right, a lot happening in the development area, and a lot will be happening as well in the street reconstruction area. Ken gave a little update. Tell us about 2018. Are there particular areas, or what's the scope of street reconstruction?
Yeah, typical program. Again, we try to get around about I think about 10 miles every year they do with street reconstruction program, and so they'll be getting that on the January 2nd agenda to kind of start doing the plans, and then you'll see that come through the process as we get closer to the construction season for 2018.
Very good.
Yep.
And speaking of good news, we have a couple other good news items to pass along. Heidi gave a little update on a few partners with the city. One would be Met Council, and another is a youth sports grant. So first, let's talk Met Council. There's a specific site in town that's going to get some help.
Yeah, so this is the corner of 85th and Zachary Lane, kind of that northeast corner, just south of the UPS site. This is a former landfill site. Many people may know it as the former Hilger or Santaphil landfill site there on that corner. City owns it. City has owned it for a number of years. We had done an RFP and selected a developer, Inland Development Partners, and then had applied for some grant funding in the spring cycle. We weren't awarded. Applied again here in November, and now we've been recommended for $500,000 to help with the cleanup of that site through the tax-based revitalization account at Met Council.
Wonderful.
So we're really happy to see that come along. We still have 2 applications pending through DEED in Hennepin County in support of this project. We'll probably know about those here as we get into January, but I think this kind of helps to spur that project along, so we'll likely see that project go forward in the spring of 18. This is another kind of that office warehouse mix, higher percentage of office again, about 200,000 square feet on that site, and Inland Development Partners will be doing that one.
Very good. And then let's talk sports a little bit. We've mentioned it a couple times that there might be a new athletic complex coming to town, and there's a partner that's going to help there. Yeah,
so we made application to the Hennepin County Youth Sports Grant Program. We were awarded $250,000 towards that project, and it's north of the stadium up by Maple Grove High School, so just south of 99th, west of Fernbrook there.
Right.
So the goal is to construct between 3 and 4 artificial turf fields there to complement the assets that are already there with the dome and that field and the stadium, and then the other athletic fields up there. So that one's going to be moving forward. Athletic associations partnered on that, soccer, lacrosse, and football, and then of course working with the school district on kind of the site considerations there as well. But nice to have some support from the Hennepin County Youth Sports Grant on this project.
Very good. One final item, if that's not enough from the meeting already on the 18th, is the EDA got together and had their meeting, and this is something that happens, as I understand it, at this time of the year, kind of a look forward to the year budget work. Give us a quick overview of what happened there. Yeah,
so December 4th, of course, we had our budget hearing on the general fund. That was on our consent agenda then last Monday evening to adopt the general fund levy. We needed to come back and adopt our EDA HRA levy. Consistent levy, we've levied about $150,000 since 1999 for these purposes. Also included with this is our budgets for our housing program, so Woodland Mounds and our scattered site program. Some nominal rent increases being proposed in those just to reflect kind of the age of those facilities and the need for ongoing capital investment there. So got those budgets, and we'll get that certified up to the county now in the coming weeks.
So does this mean you don't have to think budget then for at least a week or two?
Yeah.
And then get back at it?
I think we get a break till March now.
Good for you. You deserve it.
Yes.
All right. That is it from the meeting on the 18th. Let's move ahead to some other things happening around town. And as we record this in mid-December, again, we're looking ahead at some holiday times. And it's going to mean a few changes to the offices at the City Government Center and also transit. Tell us a little bit about just what people should be aware of.
So we'll be closed Monday, December 25th for the Christmas holiday, and then Monday, January 1st for the New Year's holiday. And with that, council meeting shifts to Tuesday, January 2 for that first meeting of the year. Pretty ceremonial, organizational, business type focused meeting. So probably will be a pretty brief one. Transit service changes, no service on Christmas Day, December 25th, no service on New Year's Day. And then they do add some routes for the Fridays, December 22 and 29 to kind of help folks out, because we know there's a lot of early, I'm getting off early on Friday before the holiday. So we want to accommodate that and give people the opportunity to get out of downtown early. So look for the schedules on that one.
All right. Another item that doesn't seem fitting here in winter, but let's talk about it because there's some good news here, and it's a project you've been working on as a city, is the Emerald Ash Borer. So where are we now, and what are some of the statistics you have to pass along to residents? Yeah, so we, as you recall, about a year ago, coming up here in January, we discovered Emerald Ash Borer here in Maple Grove, and with that, we had been working on a management plan, but with that discovery, we kind of put everything in full motion. We're really happy to see that we partnered with a tree company and put out information about how you might treat your ash trees. The treatment of ash trees to kind of avoid this Emerald Ash Borer problem is becoming
becoming more successful. The Department of Ag is really doing some studies around how effective this might be. And we're happy to say that in 2017, over 1,000 ash trees were treated in Maple Grove, and that includes private trees as well as public trees. So when you think about, you know, the urban forest here in Maple Grove, that's a big save if we were to lose all those trees. And so I think the opportunity, you know, if you as a resident have ash trees in your yard and you haven't taken advantage of this program yet, or you're thinking about it, the cost to treat is while it's an ongoing cost, it's much cheaper than the tree removal, and you don't lose the tree. So we're really happy with the results of this program, and excited to see what it means to the future of our ash trees here in Maple Grove.
And if residents are interested in finding out more, maybe they say, I should be part of this, who do they call? Just the government center, or who might they get sent to?
Yep, lots of information on our website, of course, about that. They can reach out there, but Kelly Matsky in our engineering department leads up this effort, and if you just give a call to the engineering department, they'll get you connected.
All right, he knows his trees, so he'll help you out. We've got some employees and employment opportunities we want to talk about. So as we have been kind of on a march of possible retirements here, we've got a few more to mention. But then on the other end, if you're looking for a job, there might be some opportunities. So take us through both ends of the personnel front. Yeah,
a couple of key retirements, and all these employees have been with the city for many, 30+ years type of situation. Julie Board is retiring from the engineering department. Jolie Iliff is retiring from community development, and Julie Filling from the administration department. So we're going to be looking at filling these positions. So there's information on our website about how to apply for those opportunities. In addition, youth outreach program specialist. We did an internal promotion over in the Parks Department for special events coordinator, and so that opened up this youth outreach program, and that's available on our website as well.
All right, the deadlines are located there as well, so you can find out when you have to act by. And if you're not looking for a job, but maybe a way to serve the city in another way, you can do that through commissions. And this is something that happens at this time of the year. Tell us about the opportunities and how people can get involved.
Yeah, so we have openings on our park board, which is really a great opportunity to get involved in kind of guiding the future of our park investment and our oversight of our recreation programs. So applications are being accepted through December 29th. That information is available on our website. We also have openings on our Lake Quality Commission. So this is a group that works on water quality issues in town, as well as specifically on our lakes. 2 openings on that board, applications accepted through the middle of January.
All right, a couple other items with the time of the year. Again, it's a time to give, and there are ways to give and maybe to get some gifts as well. So let's talk about Toys for Tots, Farmers Market, and giving blood. You've got all of it covered there at the city.
Yes, so Toys for Tots made their delivery to Care 11 this week. There was a big kind of a law enforcement night there, so that's always a fun night. We just had a great response from the community and from our city organization for this year, so we were happy to be a part of that this week. Farmers Market, last market of the year, tomorrow, Thursday, December 21, 3 to 6. It's the ugly Christmas sweater day, so you can get in the festive spirit, and I'm sure it'll be festive in the community center. They always have live music and lots of stuff going on, so that's a fun one. And then on Friday, we are having a blood drive at the government center. Blood donations always, go down this time of year. People are busy, but the need for blood is still there. So December 22 from 8 to 11 a.m. And it's through if you want to just give a call to City Hall and get the information, there's a specific website you have to go to sign up. And if you didn't get a chance to sign up and you show up, I'm guessing they'll take you too.
I think they would let you in, right?
Yes.
All right, so that's a lot that's happening during the Christmas holiday. One final note for the end of the year is, as always, on December 31st, the city puts on a big party at the community center. And we're not quite sure how full they are as this taping, so it does fill up. So if you like the information, get in early. Tell us a little bit about the fun that happens at the community center. Yeah, so time is moving up a little bit this year. It's on a Sunday, New Year's Eve, of course, so 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, December 31st at the community center. It's $10 per person. There's concessions available that evening, but it gets you in to do, they have dancing, inflatables, crafts, ice skating, the Maple Maze, swimming, indoor playground. All of those activities are available to you. And then they'll do the balloon drop at 5:45 p.m. that evening. So you can celebrate in the afternoon at the city and then go home. So you're all set to go. Yes. Heidi, great information as always. Thank you for being with us. Let's leave you with some information. We mentioned a lot about the city's website, and so you see it right there in the middle of the screen. If any of those job openings interest you, potentially working on some of the commissions or other activities, maybe the ash tree Emerald Ash Borer working with that in town. You can go to the website and find a lot more information. Next meeting, as Heidi mentioned, moves to the Tuesday, January 2nd, 494-6000, the number to the Government Center, and 763-533-1710, our viewer response line if you have questions or comments for the program. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks again for joining us.